Oh, hey there. I hope that you have been doing well. My name is Nduta Wambura, and if you're new to this channel, then welcome. Please go ahead and subscribe, put your notifications bell on, and let's get this ball rolling. So I've been doing quite a number of YouTube live videos, and if you have not watched any one of those, please go ahead and watch them. You will have a wealth of knowledge about different Erasmus programs that are open, and we give you tips and pointers with so many of my guests that I have been able to speak to. And thank you so much for subscribing. Please share this video, share these videos if they are helpful to you. Let me know which other videos that you would like me to do on this channel. I'll be more than happy to do them. So this channel is all about scholarships, it's all about studying abroad, living abroad, as well as nutrition. And so today's video is going to be just a general question and answer. Somehow I'm just answering some of the questions that you guys always ask on my Instagram or my Facebook. You guys slip into my DMs, and what I'm gonna do is that I will answer this in a general perspective, because most of you usually ask, how do I study abroad? Is there a certain formula? What exactly should I know before I study abroad? And these are some of the things that I wished that someone told me before. And as you may know, maybe I am an Erasmus Mundus grantee, and I did my master's program between 2015 and 2017 under the KITE program, which now already ended funding. So I'm always happy to speak about Erasmus. I am the country representative for Kenya for Erasmus, and you definitely might have heard me speak about Erasmus a lot. But this video is not going to focus on just Erasmus. It's just a general video to tell you more about some pointers of what to look out for before you even decide that you want to study abroad. Right? So studying abroad is quite something that I would wish for everyone to even experience. One, because it opens you up into several things. You're able to benchmark into whichever the continent that you go to, whichever the country, whichever the city you go to. You will be able to definitely benchmark, meet new friends, perhaps even speak a new language, right? That you might not have known before, or perhaps you had an interest in before. Opens up your mind, and you are able to even maybe travel. For example, if you choose a program like Erasmus, then you're able to move from one country to the other because of the great mobility that Erasmus offers. And these are some of the things that I wish someone would have told me before, that, oh my God, it's going to change your life. Right? So before you go ahead and browse into all those opportunities that you might have found online, and you're like, here's a scholarship, here's another scholarship, this one looks good, this one looks good. Some of the things that you need to ask yourself first is, one, do I want to self-fund myself? Do I want to partly fund myself? Do I want to be fully funded for the program that I want to study? Do I want a full program to study the full program abroad? Or do I want maybe partly, to study abroad and partly back at home? What exactly do I want to do? This is the first question that you have to answer yourself, right? So for example, if you want to go study your master's, maybe you want to do an MBA, and you're like, okay, can I fund myself? If the answer is no, then you go for a fully funded scholarship, or maybe a partially funded scholarship. And so this would be the guiding, answer to which scholarships that you go ahead and apply for. So for example, if you want to be fully funded, then you will go online and then start checking for fully funded scholarships across the globe. But to ensure that this filter is much more narrowed down, then you also need to answer yourself, which country do I want to study in? Which continent do I want to see myself in? And this also melts down into the visa applications and, of course, the immigration issues that come about when you're thinking about studying abroad. So this is another question that you need to answer yourself. So in terms of the visas, in terms of the maybe the immigration issues that any cooperations that you guys might be having, from your own country with other countries. Is it going to be a difficult process for you? Perhaps even, is it going to be a huge cost for you? Because some visa application processes can be quite costly. So, once you answer that question, then you narrow down your search again into the country that you feel this is more favorable in terms of visa. It's going to be, much more cheaper than any other country, and so on and so forth. And as you look for the country, you also want to ensure that you answer whether the language spoken in that country is something that is favorable, the culture of the country, as well as the climate changes that might occur in that country. Is it something that you can handle over the period of time that you're going to be in that country? Because as much as you're going to study there, you're also going to be living there, so which means you will interact with the culture there, the language that is spoken there, the structure of the systems that are in that country. You will interact with pretty much everything, and this is going to count into the success of your program, right? Now, so which means that once you answer the question about your country, then you are able to narrow down into the different scholarships that you might be interested in. And again, to filter once more, then whichever the scholarships that you are looking for online, you also need to see what's the mission of this scholarship. Is it something that I want to be involved in? Some scholarships have very, very huge caveats in terms of if you come to study under this scholarship, then we would need you to go back to your own country for maybe like 2 years before you can maybe come back or start kind of thing. And of course, again, if you're bringing in your family, whether you would be able to accommodate them, whether you'll be able to take care of them when they are here as well as you study. If, for example, you're self-funding yourself, again, this is something that you also would want to answer, whether are you going to bring your family over, or are you going to just be by yourself? And as soon as you answer this question, then the filtering becomes way much easier. Now, the other question that you also want to ask yourself is, what type of curriculum are you going to be studying? Is this going to be beneficial? Is it something that you would be able to use in the future? Whether you want to go back to your country, whether you want to go and begin a certain project, maybe in a certain country, that is something that you also need to answer. How are you going to benefit from this program that you need to study abroad and you cannot study in your own country? And as soon as you answer that, then that guides you even into writing a very good personal statement that you would be obviously submitting for pretty much any scholarship that you'll be applying for. They definitely would want to know what is your motivation of applying for that particular scholarship. And another thing that you would also want to answer is, what are you bringing to the table? So I know for some of the consortiums, for Erasmus, they definitely want to know, what exactly are you also bringing into the table? Are you just coming to study and that's it? Or do you have some certain skills or some certain knowledge bases that can also be of value to that particular program that you're going to be studying in? Now, another question that, if for example you are going to study your PhD, that you also need to answer is whether you have got already a supervisor. So these supervisors would be from any universities that you have chosen, and whether you have been able to interact with them, maybe on an email. You have introduced yourself on an email and requested them, hey, can you supervise my project? In this case, I see that you have been doing some great work within the field that I'm interested in. Are you able to supervise me? Or maybe do you have like a research group that is already going on, and I can be able to bud into that research group and be one of your students? Can you be able to supervise my project? So if you haven't already reached out to one of these supervisors, this is something that you need to do ahead of time. And in fact, most of the scholarship programs will ask you whether you already have a supervisor if you're applying for a PhD or you don't. Okay, so this is something that is very, 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 very crucial. Now, another question that you want to answer yourself as you filter, through any one of the scholarships is the ranking of the university that you're going to study in. So usually you can find the ranking of different universities online, so you can just go search online and see how that university or how that department has been ranked, perhaps maybe within the continent where you're going to study in, or within the country that you're going to study in, or even globally. So this is something that you can also be able to check online. What is the ranking of this university? Is this something that is very crucial for you or not? Okay, and then I will tell you for a fact, most of us think that, if I want to study abroad, I definitely just want to go to those countries which I've heard of, or which are quote unquote mainstream. So for example, I'm from Kenya, and I know most Kenyans usually go to maybe the UK or go to the US or Australia, of course being guided because of the language, because most Kenyans don't want to go into countries that are not English speaking. But I will tell you for a fact that some of those non-mainstream countries would be even sort of a bit easier to even get that scholarship, especially because, as much as you do not speak the language there, they want to also have some sort of cooperation that is going on and that kind of thing. So do your background checks and see whether you can also go into the non-mainstream countries and be able to benefit from the scholarships that are being offered in those countries. And you may be very surprised because they have maybe a better approach or a better cultural structure. I don't know, depending on what exactly you want to explore. This is something that also melts down into what are your end goals. What do you want to achieve from studying abroad? Are you just escaping from your own country, or you want to come and actually really, truly, completely immerse yourself into that country's culture, into doing some benchmarking here and there depending on your field? So answer these questions. Right now, when you find the ranking of the university, then you can also check any scholarships that would be within that particular university. So most of the universities might have in-house scholarships or in-house funding structures, which might be very beneficial for you. Or if, for example, you're just applying for Erasmus, then you do not have to actually go ahead and do that. But if you're applying for other universities, then it's good to check whether they have any other funding that is going on within that particular department that you are interested in, and you can apply for those if this is something that is of interest to you. Now you've already narrowed down into the university, the country as well, and now there's other things that you also need to think about: the documentation. So for example, if you see a scholarship and you're like, oh my god, this is a fantastic scholarship, but maybe it has a deadline of 3 days, and maybe you don't even have enough time to actually apply for it, right? So what I would recommend in this case is applying for it the following year, right? Because you would need to get your documents straight on, and your documents in this case would be things like, degree certificates, transcripts, it could be reference letters, it could be personal statements, motivation statements, it could be your CV that is you need to rewrite or something of the sort. You need to, of course, think about things like visas. Some people might not even have passports, so you need some time to take care of this. Some of the courses might also be asking for English language tests, right? It could be, for example, you're going to the UK and you need an English language test, or maybe you're applying for a certain Erasmus program that actually really does need an English test. So if you do not have ample time, I would rather that you apply for the following year. And the good thing about some of these courses is that they might not have an age limit, especially for Erasmus. They might not have an age limit, and forgive me if I'm a bit biased here, because of course I represent Erasmus and you'll hear me talk about Erasmus every single other time, but some of these courses might not have the age limit, which means that you can apply for them in the following year. And so if you don't have an ample time, ensure that maybe you can shelve the idea until you're ready, for sure. That you're not even, rushing into the very last of minutes and wondering, oh my God, I need to submit this very, very quickly. Maybe I've not even written my proposal if it's for a PhD and I need to rush, etc. I need someone to read through it. No, don't rush through a scholarship application. I will tell you for a fact. Okay, now the last thing, of course, this is not the last thing because these tips are just a tip of the iceberg. One other thing that you also need to answer yourself is, what exactly are you going to be doing after you finish your program? Is it that you want to study more? Perhaps maybe you want to do a PhD. Is it that you want to go back to your own country and maybe do a certain program or a certain project that you have been running, or maybe go back to your original job? Or do you want to stick around that particular country or any other different country and work there? What are your goals after? And of course, this is something that you also stipulate on your motivation statement or your statement of purpose. What exactly is your end goal? So if you want to stick around and maybe work within that particular country, then do your due diligence and check out the visa process of maybe changing from a student visa to a work visa. Is this something that you can be able to do very easily? Is it easy to get jobs within your own field? Do you need maybe like a license or a certain registration for you to be able to work within that country? These are things that you can already check and see whether you can be able to do them in the future, right? And of course, this guides your decision into even the country that you choose to go into and study. And again, if you want to go back to your own country, then this would be easy for you because at least you would be able to know that, hey, I'm going to this country, I'm going to study for 2 years, and then within those 2 years, I'm going to interact with people, I'm going to network as much as I can, I'm going to learn as much as I can, improve my skills, improve my knowledge base in such a way that when I go back to my own country, I know for a fact that I can be able to execute and improve maybe the projects that you had been running before, or maybe learn begin a new thing altogether. Who knows? These are things that you also be able to answer and then be able to begin that application, ensuring that you're keeping in that deadline. And of course, I say this is just a tip of the icebergs. We will definitely be continuing to have these discussions, and I do hope that you are actually going to apply. And I know I have had quite a number of people saying that yes, they've applied for especially for Erasmus, and Erasmus is still open even right now and will close. Some of the programs have already begun even closing this month, and they will continue maybe closing in January, others in February. There are some that stretch a little bit into March, but this is for you to begin your study in September of 2022. So once again, I hope these tips have been helpful to you, and I hope that your study abroad journey is going to be as smooth as possible. So please feel free to subscribe, leave a comment down below, put your notifications bell on, share the video, really interact with me on social media, reach out to me on my Twitter or my Instagram or my Facebook. I am Dr. Wambura on each one of those, and until next time, have a good one and happy application. Bye.